Hi everyone. In this lecture, I'm going to start chapter 11, which is about input and output in Java and how to handle exceptions in Java. The goal of this chapter is to be able to understand how to read and write text files in Java and access command line arguments and how to throw and catch exceptions and also how to implement programs that propagate checked exceptions. First, we are going to talk about how to read from a text file, and then later in the following slides, we'll talk about writing into text files. There's a class called Scanner. You can use this class for reading text files. In order to read from a disk file, you need to first construct an object of a class called file that exists in Java. So after constructing the file object representing the input file, then we can construct a scanner. So the first step is to construct a file object. How can we construct a file object? You need to use this syntax. File, the name of the variable file, in this case, input file, and you set it equal to a new instance of file class. New file. The constructor of file class gets the name of a file, name of the input file, as a constant string, in this case input.text. In the next step, you need to use this file object to construct the scanner object. For example, you name a variable of type scanner in, you say scanner in is equal to new scanner, and the constructor of a scanner gets a input parameter, in this case reader. In the next step, you can use the scanner methods to read data from file. There are different scanner methods like next int, next double, and many more. Let's talk about some of the methods and how they work. Here is an example of reading from text file and iterating over a set of numbers that are in a text file, and you want to read them using the scanner that you defined in the previous slide. Here is how we do it. While in dot has next double, then do this block. The block contains two Java statements. The first one is an assignment. You create a variable of type double value, and you set it equal to in dot next double. In dot next double method is a method of a scanner class that gets no input parameters and returns the double value of the text mentioned in the input file. So it parses the text, converts it to a double value, and then returns it. So after the first assignment, you can do whatever you want to do with value. So we don't want to talk about it. This is just the generalization of an example that shows how to process a bunch of numbers in the input file. The important methods that we learned here from scanner class is first has next double, the first one that is the condition of while loop, which basically returns true if there is another double in the input file, and returns false if we have ran out of all the doubles or all the numbers in the input file. We have reached to the end of the file. And the next important method from scanner was next double, which basically parses the text and converts it into a double number. Next, we talk about how to write into a text file. To write to a file in Java, you have to construct an object of the class printWriter. So printWriter is a predefined class. All you need to do is to instantiate an object class. How do you do it? First, we define a variable or we declare a variable with name out. We type printWriter, and then we set it equal to new printWriter in parentheses the name of the output file, in this case output.txt. So basically we are instantiating an object from printWriter class with the constructor that can get only one input parameter. That parameter is the name of the file, in this case output.txt. If file already exists, it is emptied before the new data are written into it. If the file doesn't exist, then an empty file is created for you so that you can write to the file. Then, after creating an object of printWriter class, you can use the methods print and println to write into printWriter or to write into a file that printWriter refers to. For example, out.println hello world. It simply writes down hello world into the file, and then after that it adds a new line character. Why does it add a new line character? Because we called println method of printWriter class. Another example is out.printf total is equal to percent 8.2f backslash n comma total. Printf is another method for printWriter. Basically, printf prints with a specific format. In this example, first a constant string total columns, then a space, then the percent sign 8.2f means that we have a float number or a decimal or a number with up to 8 decimal parts and 2 fractional parts, which basically means that we restrict the number of fractional parts into 2 digits at most, and we restrict the number of integer part or decimal part into 8 digits. So before the fractional point, we can have up to 8 digits. After the fractional point, we can have only 2 digits. And then we have a backslash n, which shows the new line. So printf in this method, in this example, prints out total dot the float representing or the float value of total variable, and then a new line. Another method of print writer which is very useful is print without f or without ln. Print simply puts the characters that are in the input parameter into the file without adding a backslash n or adding a new line at the end. So print has a simpler functionality than println or printf. An important point about writing into text files is that you must close the file when you are done processing it. So in the case of writing into file, you have to write out.close. Close is the method of printWriter class, which basically closes the file that you are done processing it. We have the same signature for the scanner class method. The scanner class also has a method called close, that closes the scanner. After that point, you cannot scan any other text data and read it from the scanner. So if you don't close the scanner or the print writer objects, then not all of the output may be written to the disk file in the case for the print writer, and for the scanner, if you don't close it, then you may be able to still read from file, and it can be dangerous because you may leak some information. Also, as you remember from previous slides, we said that the constructor of both scanner and print writer class has only one input parameter. You can specify UTF-8, this constant string, as the second parameter of these constructors for both scanner and print writer, so that you can specify the format in which you can read or write from or to a file.